Today, we are stepping into a world that's often misunderstood: surrogacy. I'm sitting down with Shannon, who is a single mom who has carried her own children but also been a surrogate mother to two other families. She shares the highs and the lows, the heartbreaks, the bonds that last a lifetime. Together, we talk about what it really means to be a surrogate mother, the stigmas that still linger, and how these journeys touch everyone involved, including her children. The story is about love, resilience, and community, and I think it just might change the way we all see motherhood. Welcome here. Welcome to season 2 of the Naked Podcast, a space where ordinary people, just like you and me, share the moments that changed everything. This podcast was inspired by a conversation I had with my grandma, who once said, "If more of us shared our stories, fewer of us would feel alone." And that's exactly what we do here. On Naked, we talk about all the things: the wins, the losses, the growth, and the struggles. These are raw, unfiltered conversations about the parts we rarely talk about but deeply connect us. We are grateful you are here as we open up about the moments that shaped us. This is the Naked Podcast. Thanks for being here today and taking the time to hang out with me. What are you drinking? What do you tell me what you got in your hand?
Ooh, well, I got a like a cappuccino, and I got my cup that I got from my last couple. It says, "I help build families. What's your superpower?"
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cute. Oh my gosh,
Um,
I love it. I love seeing people's mugs. Mine's not nearly as fancy. I just have
Water.
some sparkling water with ginger and strawberry in it. It's just
Oh,
very
nice.
hot here right now, so it's very like soothing for this very warm climate we're in. Well, I'm so glad you're here today. I like every time someone says yes to being on the pod, I'm just like beyond honored because I know the courage it takes to share our stories, to be vulnerable, to be real. Naked is, named naked because it's the things we hide deep within us, and it's exposing the parts of us that we otherwise wouldn't. And so I don't take it lightly when people are here and with me and during their journey. So thank you for taking the time, um, just to, yeah, be in this space with me and all the naked community that's here with us today. I'm just really, really grateful for this today.
Absolutely.
It's great. Well, maybe what we'll do is I was like the people to know a little bit more about who they're listening to. So maybe you can start by telling us, well, this is Shannon, my lovely friend from Canada, but you can tell us a little bit more about who you are, where life currently has you at, a little bit about the littles in your life, the people that you have,
Yeah,
so they can just understand about who they're listening to today.
absolutely. So I am a single mom of two, surrogate of two. And life is just super busy and transitioning careers at the moment too. We have lots of things that are always on the go with littles and all the things. I am also recently divorced of 4 years. So I mean, dealing with the different roads of life and just going along with it.
And how old are your kiddos?
My eldest will be 10 next month, as wild as that is, and my youngest
Wow.
is 6. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm.
So actively, the kids keep you busy in activities and school
So
and all the things that are
busy.
going on.
So busy.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone who's a mom is like, yes, I understand. I get this, this world of busyness. And they grow up so fast. It's crazy when they're little. It feels like you have these little toddlers. You're like, man, this is a very demanding season in its own way. And then they grow up and it's like less of the hands-on and more of like the emotional. I mean, it is hands-on, but there is more of that emotional side of it too, right?
Yeah.
Weaving into like,
Yeah.
how do you help them on more complex matters than just like making sure that they're fed and having naps and all those good things.
Correct. You're dealing with different personalities now. They're getting more independence, and so it's navigating how they feel and making sure they feel secure enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What's one of the biggest things you've noticed, being a mom of littles? And now you got a little one on the heels of like, now she's in double digits on the heels of that
Mhm.
preteen. What have you noticed in her as far as personality and all that?
I mean, she's more fiery. She's
Yeah.
always had a little fire, but she's much more fiery. She is definitely one that her way or the highway. So it's been a bit of a. I mean, most moms have experienced. They always have one that's more relaxed and then one that's more heavy hitter of a child.
Yeah.
So to put it lightly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just been fun dealing with the different things. And I mean, she's learning alongside me. I mean, as moms, we're always learning, and I don't think that ever stops.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. So she's your fiery one, your oldest one.
She's my fiery one. Yeah.
Yeah.
My youngest is more the cuddly, um, emotional one. She's, yeah.
Okay. She's your cuddly one. Yeah, I feel like you always get it, no matter if you have 2, 4, 6, whatever kids. Everybody's like, yeah, and then I have my fiery one. It's like really strong.
Yeah.
And those kids are incredible. I feel like sometimes, even if they're not in the lineup of the first child, which they're not always, they tend to be quite strong leaders. Um, Wherever they sit in the ranking of the child lineup, they just tend to be like natural leaders and like take charge. And when they decide something, yeah, when they decide something, there's just they're doing the thing. They go after it, and that is
They're doing stuff.
amazing, unstoppable as they become adults and they become like these fearless leaders. Like, oh yeah, hell no, nothing's stopping me. I will accomplish my goals and my dreams, and that is pretty cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
I always say they're strong-willed and they're tough to deal with now, but they will be strong leaders down the road. So don't put out their flame because that's something society needs right now,
Yeah, 100%.
especially for women.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's totally true. Well, yes, in the months of all the busyness and the kiddos, I'm so glad we get this chance to be here together. And you are, I remember when we met
Mhm.
and we just like it was in passing. So I met Shannon at a gym. I was back in Canada for a short amount of time and we just had to kind of connect. And I was like, oh my gosh, like learning more about her life. I'm like, you are so inspiring. And then I'm just so intrigued to know more about your story. And I think it's really fitting for who we are and what Naked is, to have somebody like you on the podcast. So when I asked you the question, you seemed like very like, yeah, I'll totally do it. Like some people are like, let me think about it. And you're like, no, I'll totally do it.
Aw.
What was the thing that came to mind for you? And you're like, oh, this is the thing. And it's kind of a loaded question. I always say to all my guests, it's like, gosh, there's so many moments in life where things really took a change. Um, so it's hard to narrow it down. But when you thought about that and when you're like, yeah, I'm in, what was the thing that came to mind?
I mean, for me, I'm honored, first of all, to be here. And second, I think my story is something that impacts a lot of people. A lot of people don't quite understand what I do or what I have accomplished. And then, so I find being able to connect with more like minded women and being able to share my story can possibly impact other people down the road and to understand or feel that they're not alone in the situation. So yeah, I
Mm,
thought that was kind of a big deal. And when you introduced this podcast, I was like, why not? Like more ways to share with those around us in a broader spectrum.
hmm I love it. I love it. And you're
Mhm.
right. A lot of times we feel alone, and then in our quietness, that darkness just grows and grows and grows, becoming very isolated, which can be so much of why we feel alone or depressed or the separation from
Mhm.
society and can get stuck in our own head. So it's really amazing, to have you here and that you're open to share your journey. Because there's somebody I heard somebody say the other day, it was actually Mel Robbins, and she was talking about like why she does what she does, and she's like, honestly, it's for one person. If one person finds hope, one person finds inspiration, if one person gets to move forward because of this conversation, it's all worth it, you know. So I think that's the beauty of life is when we open up, we don't realize who is taking it in, who is listening, and how they're going to feel that effect and change who they are and
Mm.
inspire them. So, yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. And maybe one day you inspire them to follow in your footsteps or be able to give back in a different manner than of what I've done. And
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. So, tell me everything. I'm just so excited to hear, like, how it all unfolded.
How it all unfolded.
Well, you can tell me wherever you
Okay.
wanna start.
Well,
You start where you wanna start.
all right. Well, like I had mentioned before, I am a mama two and a surrogate of two. So I'll kind of start there because that's kind of a part of my journey at the moment, and I feel a lot of people don't really understand it. A lot of people I meet has never met a surrogate before or have never even thought of that journey, and I've met people that have been looking for something of the sort.
Mm.
So I guess for me, the big pivotal moment in life was after my separation. I felt accomplished in terms of my family. I was content. I loved my girls, but I didn't feel done being pregnant. So for me, it was more of a way to help others. And it also healed me in the process in terms of my pivotal moment of going through a major life change.
Mm.
And it kind of just stumbled from there.
Wow. Wow. So you have this idea, you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like my family is complete. But I
Yeah.
really just I love being pregnant. What's your next step after that? Like what was it like? Because some of us can have these ideas and then we're like, and then that went over there and that left, but to actually lean into it and discover and then actually take the actions to do it. Um, were there people that held you in that, like helped guide you?
Well, ultimately, I do have some really close friends that kind of got me into it. I was more inspired by their stories and their
Mm,
journeys. But ultimately, it's the families that I have met and have helped, have been pivotal for me. Like they are what inspires me to help and be able to continue to help as I have. So,
mm. So did you
mhm.
like help us understand this a little bit. So you're somebody who's like you're got two girls in the middle of the divorce or separation, and you're like, I really want to help somebody, and I really want, and I can do this, and I love doing it, and love being pregnant. What what was your next step? Like, how do you even get into that? Like, to you, it might be like, well, you just did this thing, but for somebody who's no idea, what would you even look up? Like, where do you start with that
Yeah.
next step?
I mean, for me, it was different because I had friends already in the journeys. So I had different ways to connecting in the process. But
Okay.
for somebody that's brand spanking new, there's always surrogacy. Facebook pages is really the thing I found. They're essentially chats where intended parents can post their heartfelt stories, and essentially surrogacy, matching with a surrogate to an intended parent, is very much like dating. You view it as dating. You're
Mm,
dating these couples to see, to make sure if they are fit to be a parent. You're making sure that once you give up this child, that this child is protected 100%, loved and cared for, and has everything he or she needs. So that's really where the starting process goes. And then there's a bunch of different avenues. For me, I am what's known as an independent surrogate. So what that means is I don't go through an agency. I do my surrogacy journeys privately,
okay.
with these couples, meaning I control the contracts with the lawyers in place on both ends. We do our dating phase, we match, and then we just start the medical process. So I've done one journey where I was the egg donor, and the first is genetically mine. And the second one I did through an IVF journey. So I really got to connect with the moms that
Mm,
struggle to conceive and be able to understand the process from start to finish.
wow. That's
Yeah.
incredible. That's amazing. So are they very much just a part of the journey with you, going to like appointments with you and very much a part of the whole process in that sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So my first couple lives here in Calgary, and they were either one or both husbands. I did it for two males that time. And one or the other would come to all my appointments in person. This current journey that I just finished is was virtual because they lived across the country on the east side of Canada. And so every appointment I went to, I made sure we FaceTimed them in,
Mm,
and they got to ask their questions on point to any concerns they've had to what they've heard, or it just made them feel more at ease and connected to knowing their child and being able to, I mean, involve them as best as you can, right? Because you
Mm-hmm.
try to put yourself in the mother that can't conceive's shoes. You
Mm.
want to be able to involve them to the point where she feels like she is physically the one
Yeah.
pregnant doing the journey as well.
Yeah. How was that for you?
Yeah.
Like being pregnant with having two girls. Did you ever find like there was an awkward, not an awkwardness, but just like I like the letting go and the like holding and growing a little human. How does your because there's so much emotion that comes with just being pregnant. How is that for you?
Yeah, so it is completely different in between both my journeys. So I kind of got a two-part on that one. So the first one, I felt totally fine because she lives local. I felt comforting that I could visit and our girls can have play dates because they had another daughter as well. So we were both girl parents. And so I felt more at ease because she was going to be in my life going
Hmm.
forward. This current journey that I just finished, because he lives on the east side, I mean, I'm having a bit of a tougher time with the grieving process. Because I delivered 6 weeks early this go around, I usually use the last month of my pregnancy to truly grieve, feel
Hmm.
all I need to feel. And then when I deliver, I feel like I'm closer to a closure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this time I kind of felt robbed of that, if you will,
Hmm.
because he arrived so early. I didn't get a chance to do that. And so this time I'm definitely feeling more of an angst. They've been here for 5 weeks now. They leave on Friday, and I am dreading this day
Hmm.
completely, to be honest. Not sure how to really feel. I mean, when you carry somebody else's baby that's not yours, or even like the first one was genetically mine, but if you're carrying someone's baby, like you're still going to draw a bond, you're still going to have feelings towards it. My number one stipulation when finding a couple is that I have to be involved, because there are in this, unfortunately, in this path, there are a lot of horror stories, if you will, that come across,
Hmm.
on both ends of the intended parents as well as the surrogate, where, for example, surrogates actually have the choice. They can back out of the contract after delivery and the parents don't get anything. And then there are horror stories where the intended parents will be given their child and they promise the surrogate to be involved and they totally disappear off the planet. Like you
Hmm.
can't find them, you don't know where they're at. And that's quite common in um, that rain is just pounding the house. It's really quite common these days, especially for unfortunately European families that come out, because Canada really services most of Europe, especially the countries that it's illegal to have surrogates.
Hmm.
So it's kind of just hit and miss. So I mean, the emotions are very strong on both sides.
Hmm.
This current couple, they were really worried I wouldn't sign the paperwork at the end, and then when I gave them, told them that it was done, we're done, no takebacks. They were like, I was like, no sending, no send to return, or return to sender. That's not possible with this one.
Aw. Hang tight. We'll be back after this short break. Season 2 is finally here. When I first started the Naked podcast, I honestly had no idea where it would lead us. I just knew that honest conversations really do matter. Somewhere along the line, I realized that the best parts often happen after we stop recording, the quieter moments, the ones you don't plan for. So this season, I'm inviting my guests to stay a little longer for those conversations. I am so excited to share that the Naked podcast now has a Patreon, a space with extended episodes, written versions of my solo pieces, and a few of the things I am building just for you. If this show has moved you, made you feel seen, or just kept you company, I'd love for you to join me there. All the details are in the show notes, just a little invitation to stay a bit longer. As we take this short break, think about someone who might need this story in their ears today and pass it on. Now, let's get back into it. Just a sense of relief, I
So
imagine.
yeah, it gave mom a sense of relief knowing it was finalized. But I mean, even for me when they're leaving on Friday, like I had a discussion the other day with the dad, and he didn't realize, like, when I signed the legal paperwork, they're like, you're signing a closed adoption essentially. In my first journey, I didn't have that. It was an
Mm,
open adoption per se. And so when they're like, yeah, it's a closed adoption, I was like, whoa, wait a second. Like, that you're just erasing me from everything. And she's like, yeah, technically you didn't exist in this process. Like, you didn't do anything. And so I had a conversation with dad the other day, and I was like, did you know that they made it a closed adoption? And he said, no, like, I didn't know they did. And, it draws up fears again as a surrogate. Like,
mm,
will they go back to the East and then you just never hear from them again? Like, you just
mhm.
don't know. But that's a risk us surrogates and intended parents have to take. It's something, if you want to have your dream realized, it's just something that has to be crossed at some point, right?
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
have no control of what people are going to do and if they're going to alter anything. Like, so it's just a big leap of faith, and you just hope and pray that they will honor their side as much as you honored them.
Right. It's like a bit of, I can
Yeah.
imagine just like releasing and letting go because you don't have, the control. Um, but
Yeah.
that when people do honor that, that there can be like this other person in their life that loves them, like you and your girls to love them. But not
Exactly.
knowing the outcome. Yeah, I can imagine that would be a lot on the heart.
It can be. It can be. And again, it's just a leap of faith, and you just hope that everything works out okay, and you're able to push through and be able to watch this little being grow up to be a beautiful human, and that's really all I ask for. So,
Hmm.
um,
Wow. What's what's one of the things that has surprised you about this journey of surrogacy?
the connections.
Hmm.
Yeah, the family connections. Um, this so both my journeys have been night and day experiences. My first journey, they're very private, very closed family. They I've met the mom and dad to the one spouse, but not the other kind of thing, and that I've never met anybody else. Whereas my current journey, um, is an Italian family, and I met everybody through the process. From grandma and grandpa to all the aunts and uncles to the
Wow.
grandchildren. You name it, I met them.
Wow. How cool.
So yeah, so it's a very cool experience to see the other side of it. And I remember a couple days after we delivered, they were FaceTiming. Dad was FaceTiming his sister, and she's like, you can never leave our family, right? And I was like, I know.
Aw.
Like, you're stuck with us for life. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. So I mean, there's pros and cons with everything you have. So I think that's the biggest difference for me that I've noticed is the
Hmm.
connections on my family tree. And I always tell people, like, I have two brand new unique branches on my family tree that no one can ever take away from me. I was like, and I think it's really cool because once that family tree expands as they have kids of their own, it's going to be such a cool dynamic down the road, even for my own children.
Hmm. Yeah, to know that
Mm-hmm.
that you did something like
Mm-hmm.
huge and you helped people in a
Yeah,
massive, like in such a big way and brought a little life into the world. Not once, but twice.
I know.
Is this a road you see yourself continuing with or on?
Um, I'm gonna say maybe. I don't know. My last journey, I thought I was done too, and then my kids convinced me to do another one, and this journey has been so amazing. Uh, but my body's slowing down. It's telling me it's done.
Hmm.
Potentially, I've thought of having one more of my own maybe down the road. But you just don't know. I think I just let life lead you where it needs to lead you. And if it happens, amazing. If it doesn't, I'm okay with that too.
Yeah.
I love the family dynamics I have now. And really, anything added is just an amazing bonus.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good way
Yeah.
to look at it. Just like if something shows up, it's like, oh, this is the next right thing, but not having that pressure on yourself on either side.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, my current couple has one more embryo left. And I did offer it to them, gave them the option. Like, if they chose to, maybe we'd give it a try, just, give it some thought, see what you got want to do. And they're like, well, if we were to use it, we would only use it with you. Like, so if you aren't willing to do another journey, our journey stops at our son. And I was like, okay.
Hmm.
So it's having that mutual opening for them as well as for me. I mean, my eldest decided the other week she was cuddling their son, and she's like, when are we doing the next one? I was like, wait a second, he's only 2 weeks old. And I asked her, I was like, why do you want us to do another one? And she says, I really enjoy the process. I really enjoy
Hmm.
the journey. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. Like, my eldest is 10. Like,
Wow.
to have that type of mentality at 10 through witnessing me, I hope draws a bigger impact when she flourishes as an adult. And maybe one day she'll help families like I do. Who knows? Maybe she
Yeah.
won't. But I
Wow.
think it's pretty cool.
That's
It's like the
amazing.
butterfly effect people keep talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah. What do you think, like when you think of your kiddos being in it, what part of it do you think that they most enjoy? That would keep, like that would be like because being pregnant can require a lot of us, too, like emotionally, physically. There's a lot that that recovery afterwards and everything. What do you think she's referring to when she's like, "I love the process"?
I think she's also um, close with the connections.
Hmm.
I think the connections for her are a really big deal. The other one would be, when I'm pregnant, the girls love to like draw smiley faces on my belly with makeup. They decorate it to the nines.
Hmm. That's
And
cute.
so I think they all throughout my pregnancies, they're always hugging my belly. They were always giving baby kisses.
Hmm.
Like, it would just was just something that they developed throughout each of the pregnancies that I think they just genuinely fell in love with on their own. So
Hmm.
yeah, it was their way of connecting and bonding. And I think at first when I had my first surrogate baby, my eldest was more like, as long as it doesn't come home, we're okay.
That's so funny.
So then when she realized, oh, it's not coming home, okay, we can do this.
Yeah. Yeah, that she's not like on the
But
other
I
end
think
hoping it does come home.
exactly. And I think this journey, she's having a change of heart in that regards
Hmm.
because um, I don't know if it was because he was a boy and she just didn't want another sister, um, or what it was, but she was open to it. So who
Hmm.
knows? I
Wow.
mean, time changes and you just don't know how it's going to unfold.
Wow. That's true. If you, for
Yeah.
someone who's listening, is like, okay, either thinking about being a surrogate mother or looking for someone to be a surrogate mother for them, what's one thing you think that they should know, what that you wish you would have known going into this?
Um, be mindful of who you're choosing. Be cognizant of what you're signing. Make sure you're covered and you know what you want throughout a pregnancy. If you don't know what you want, make sure you're seeking advice, whether it's from a surrogacy lawyer of your choice. Make sure you're definitely protected in that aspect. I think that's a really big thing for people that often get overlooked,
Hmm.
and we're in the heat of the moment to just signing things, and then when we get through mid journey, you might find something that you need and then you can't have it, or you're paying out of pocket instead. So I think that's a big deal. um, Another huge thing that people need to understand is in Canada, we're not paid for this. Like, a lot of people approach me wondering how I can do this without being paid. And it's like, well, I do it for the heart more than anything. Um, Being able to be supported emotionally is another big thing too for me. I think the emotional ties with these families are really what draws me closer to the journeys.
Mm.
So just making sure you have your bases covered. Ask as many questions as possible. When I started looking into this, yes, I had friends that did the journeys independently as well. But I talked to agencies, I talked to lawyers, I made sure I did a lot of due diligence and digging in
Mm.
to seeing if it was the right fit for me. Also making sure you're emotionally balanced for it because that's a huge it takes such a toll on you and it needs to be cared for as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine the emotional toll because even like baby's 2 weeks old right now, you said, right? And so,
You just turned four
oh, four
weeks
weeks old. Okay.
yesterday.
Okay. So just the
Yeah.
natural emotions that you and I both know come with having a baby and just the feelings and your body adjusting and your body having to find its
Yeah.
new normal again. Um,
Hmm.
is there something that you would want them to know about this season, the 2 weeks after, the 1 week after, the 4 week after, that is important?
Um, so again, both journeys were completely different. My first one, I didn't get near as much connection as I am with this one. And so my biggest thing is take as many pictures and videos if the families allow you to. Again, making sure that is consented because they do have a choice.
Hmm.
Um, Make sure that you're advocating for yourself in this process. I ended up, unfortunately, I think he was 4 days old. Yeah, 4 days old. He transferred from the Alberta Children's Hospital back to Rocky View for his care in the NICU ward, and they denied me access.
Hmm.
I was shattered, like
Hmm.
uncontrollably shattered, crying like crazy. I couldn't even look at the parents. I was so upset. Um, Knowing that it wasn't their fault, it is a policy, but it was heartbreaking. So
Hmm.
advocate for yourself as much as you possibly can. Be able to don't feel like you're overstepping on anybody's toes because even though he is not my child, it was a part of the process to letting go
Yeah.
and being able to make sure he was okay ultimately in the process. Because I mean, yes, you're handing it off to their mom and dad, but it's totally different because you still need to be considered in the journey.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that would be, I can imagine, unexpected, especially with the baby coming so early. You don't have that preparation, like you
Yeah.
said, those like 4 weeks to kind of like, okay, this is the unplug, this is the disconnect, this is the whatever that process looks like for you, so that you
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
have that, have that, you know, that natural flow that you know from
That's
the
right.
first one, where you're not just in sobs, which I can only imagine being so hard,
Yeah, I
being
mean,
hard.
to me it felt like I equated it to like you always see videos of like families being torn apart by CPS or whatever the case
Mm.
may be. That's kind of how it felt because I had no control of what was happening. Baby was just removed. I mean, when he was born, I got maybe 30 seconds with him, just enough time for dad to cut the cord, and he was gone. And then I
Mm.
didn't see him again other than the hospital stays, right? So just make sure you're advocating as much as you can. We advocated, and luckily this is where I scored big. The couple fought for me to see their son in the hospital, and I finally got to see him 48 hours later. They FaceTime me obviously all the
Mm.
time, but it wasn't the same. Like I was very upset the first 24 hours that I couldn't even do FaceTimes without bawling my eyes out. So
Mm.
it's when they advocated for me, it was interesting because I got to the hospital and I remember my name being plastered all over his suite. And I'm like, and you couldn't let me in, but my name was on the computer. It was on his little name thing that they posted. It was on his crib.
Oh.
His bracelets had my name on it. And so I was like, if you're gonna deny a surrogate mom the ability to see the boy they had or kid they had, at least change the name on the screens.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
At least put the actual mother's name on there so she feels comforted that
Yeah.
she feels a part of this process, right?
Yeah.
And I understand now that legally they can't because I am the birth mother until the papers are signed.
Mm.
Whether the embryo was mine or not, I'm still listed as the birth mother.
Oh, okay.
So, um, Yeah, just make sure you're covered and you advocate for yourself. That's very,
Mm-hmm.
very huge.
Mm-hmm. So when you're in this
Yeah.
process and like going through, like you said, you kind of set up your own lawyers and your contracts and things like that. Do you have like counselors going through this with you so that when you come through on the other end, or how do you like like you said, everyone is so different. Even for myself too, I have 4 kids, and every delivery has been so different. Every child is so different. They're all like almost adults, all of them, and they couldn't be more different. So the idea of like, I heard this one person once say, "Well, I had like one kid, and they turned out really great," and and I just think if I would do the same thing with the next one, and then they had the next one, and you're like, "Oh my goodness, this is an entirely different world." Like how my body was, how I recovered, how the child was. It's like two different worlds. Um, and so, how do you set yourself up for success emotionally, mentally, that this doesn't like have some sort of spiraling effect in a way that you wouldn't want it to?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be open-minded, willing to pivot.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, anybody that's pregnant for themselves, even as a general, you know, after your first, that nothing you've planned will always go as planned.
Hmm.
It's always going to pivot. It's always going to change. Like for this one, I had a midwife again
Nice.
when I ended up preterm. She had to hand me to an OB, and like everything changed. I went from having a midwife and one nurse to having 15 people in my room dealing with me and their son at the same time.
Mm.
And so it was something that you have to prepare yourself mentally. Nothing's going to go as planned. And if it does go as planned, amazing, but don't expect it to go as planned. Don't expect to be able to have the drugs or not have the drugs. It's like you just don't know how it's going to unfold.
Yeah.
So be able to go with the flow, shift, see how you do, make sure you're reevaluating yourself often. That way you have that support. If you need like extra care in terms of psychology, take it. It is something that is super huge with me in my journeys. I see a psychologist all throughout my journey, and then I always see them for the first 6 weeks post
Mm.
to make sure my aftercare is on point and I know what to look out for. Also, find big things. Find if you're habitual or you know something works for your mental state, dive into it and be able to use that as a focus through your healing process on the aftercare portion.
Mm. That's good. That's really good. Good advice. I
Mhm.
like how that support. Like I guess that's what I meant to say. Is like, what kind of outside supports do you have? Like family and stuff is great and friends are great, but then there's something that other support that you can really be vulnerable and real with about the whole
Mhm.
experience, and catches you before you find yourself in a space where it
Yeah.
feels too dark. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think make sure like I mean, if you're close enough to the families, be vulnerable with them. I mean, they're learning just as much as you are,
Mm.
and they if they care enough about you, they're gonna want to know. So I
Yeah.
mean, I was always the mom and dad were always checking in on me. How you doing? We have a group chat that we use often, and they're always sending me pictures of their son and
Mm.
videos. And so those touch points make a big difference in how you're riding the journey.
Yeah. I can imagine. I can imagine that like inclusive
Yeah.
feeling where I can imagine that would have an impact on how you come through this season too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
What's been the thing that's been um the most exciting part of this process? And I know you said connection with people, but I wonder if there's this other element that is maybe woven into your girls being a part of this season with you as well. Now it's like the three of you again, like, and you have you again and they have you. So that from the beginning of like choosing a family, going through it to the now being on, other end of it, and Babes is with his family and things like that. If you were to look back and to see it from beginning to end, what is the part that is that holds that excitement, that hum, that like that little bit of magic, maybe.
Uh, for me, it's really seeing their reactions.
Hmm.
Um, with and or their interactions with the babies that we have, right?
Mm-hmm.
The excitement on their faces is what really excites me in this process, and being able to see the extreme love that comes out of it.
Mm.
The other thing that I really love in terms of the journeys with the kids is I'll go to their schools and their teachers will randomly pull me over and be like, I didn't know you were a surrogate. So
Aw.
the excitement of my kids educating kids in school and parents in school, and it far exceeded something I ever thought would happen. For example, the other day we went to the dollar store and my youngest Lexi ran into her friend from school, and the mom came up and she's like, I heard you just had a surrogate baby. And I was like, I did? Like, how did you hear? She's like, Lexi was talking all about it on her field trip the other day. She
Aw.
was really, really worried when you went into preterm labor. And I was like, oh my gosh. It's like, so that impact in them having that, like I said, butterfly effect
Mm-hmm.
on all the other people around them, like they're excited to share the news, they're excited to share the story, and like, and to me that's where my flame, my hum is
Mm.
being able to know that they get excited with
Yeah.
it as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're sharing that, and they're like, it sounds like your girls are so proud of who you are and so proud of what you're doing. Like, they're just excited to share about their mom. She's doing this very heroic thing. Um, Sounds like it's such a
And
beautiful experience for all of you, and in the best way.
yeah. Well, I think so many moms, and I mean it's a common topic, is like so many moms feel like they're failing their
Mm.
children, and when you have moments like that arise, it's a different sense of pride that comes out
Mm.
of your children, and being able to be um, reassured that you're doing something right,
Mm.
even though you might think it's nothing, but it actually means way more to them than you expect.
Mm.
And I think that's a pretty big honor.
Yeah, yeah, that is, and that your kids are watching. I think your kids have the front row seat, and yeah, we don't always get it right, and we make mistakes and things like that. But I find kids are some of the most forgiving souls. They're some of the most resilient, and they're some of the best teachers.
Mhm.
And and they're taking notes when they sit and observe your life, your girls. They're sitting on
Yeah.
the front row seat to who you are, and the kindness and this like
Yeah.
empathy and giving, like mass amounts of giving from you for a
Yeah.
long period of time, and they get to see that. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And they're so raw and honest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I mean, the good, the bad, the ugly, they're gonna tell it how it is,
Yeah.
and I think that's so beautiful
Yeah.
to see.
Yeah, that the kids' honesty is the best. They're not really too worried, but people are gonna say this like, "This is actually how it is," and that's how you know it's the truth. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, wow. I just think
Yeah.
it's amazing, Shannon, what you've done and who you are, and how you've incorporated your girls into something so much a part of the journey with you. What a beautiful thing you're teaching them. I heard someone say once, I hope that my ceiling is my children's floor, and that they just rise and take it to the next. And
I love that.
yeah,
I love that.
and
Aw.
it's amazing what you're doing. Imagine your kids' floor to stand on, like that you're creating, that you're building. It's really, really beautiful.
I mean, the biggest thing is making sure that they feel seen during the process,
Hmm.
because I think a lot of people that have multiple kids, I mean, by 3, 4, they feel like they're lost in the transition, or they're
Yeah.
not getting mom's full attention or dad's full attention. And so throughout my journeys, like I said, I was connected in that way where I allowed them to decorate my belly, and I was covered
Mm.
in glitter for days. Those things that brought a connection where they were connecting with me, but they're connecting with the journey as well.
Yeah.
And being able to remember that they came first.
Yeah.
However, it's unfolding as a beautiful story for all of us,
Hmm.
not just myself.
Yeah, I love that. It's a beautiful story unfolding for all of you, and it is, and that there's so much a part of it. Um, that is beautiful. Is there anything that you think, wrapping up here and coming to the end, that somebody on either end
Mhm.
of this journey that you haven't touched on yet, you're like, this is really important. I would want you to know this. Um,
Mhm. I think the thing to be is don't be afraid to ask the question.
mm,
No question you ask is stupid. I often get people that approach me and they go, I don't think I could do that. That's not something I could ever do. I could never give up a child. Like, how could you, kind of
mm,
thing. Don't be afraid of their judgment. Ultimately, you're doing it for you. And if you decide to be a surrogate or you're an intended parent, ask as many questions, whether it's gory, not gory, just be an open book.
mm,
Everybody in the circle appreciates it. And to be able to walk around and have people ask, like a lot of people are afraid to ask me questions. And it's like, it's all an educational
mm,
miscarriage, divorce, child loss, like those are all taboo subjects in society. And I feel it's very important that people are open enough to talk about it. And I'm hoping more and more people will eventually talk about it because, a lot of us moms suffer in silence. When I got into this as a surrogate, there it comes in twofolds. Yes, I was going through a pivotal moment in my life with my divorce, but I also lost my very first pregnancy
mm,
in a miscarriage at 12 weeks, which was my biggest loss, and it took us over 9 months to conceive our eldest.
mm,
And that I remember the hell every month, going through looking at a negative pregnancy test, being heartbroken every month, hard on yourself, hearing people say, oh, just relax, go on vacation, just have fun, it'll happen naturally, like
mhm,
all those cliche statements. Just know that you're not alone, and surrogates are not an easy way out. Just like some people will say C-sections are an easy way out, they're not an easy way out.
mhm,
They're vital parts to society growing. And if you want a child bad enough, who cares where it comes from in that aspect of surrogacy,
mhm,
and or adoption for that matter. I mean, ask the questions. No questions is too big and no questions is too small. Be able to open yourself up to educating yourself on those topics. And the more people I meet throughout the process, like I met a girl randomly working out next to me at the gym,
mm.
and her sister was going through a surrogacy, and I had no idea, like I'd never met this girl in my
Wow.
life. And when she found out I was carrying a baby for somebody else, it sprung on a whole topic.
Mm,
And I was able to connect her with um different places and things that would help her along her journey.
mm,
And I think so it's super important. Just talk about it. There's nothing to be ashamed about. If you are a mom that's suffering and need the help, again, talk about it. There's so many of us that suffer in silence, and I think opening up that conversation allows so many women to feel heard and seen on many different levels in this process.
mm. That's great. That's a great cap
Yeah.
up and wrap up on this. I feel like that answers probably a lot of uh, maybe looming questions that people didn't know they had, and just to settle some ideas of what that looks like. And that's really, really good. And I'm so glad that you were able to be here and share this story. And like I said, you're
Absolutely.
just an inspiration your little girls are watching, and what a journey you're taking them on, including them in, and educating them. It's quite beautiful to see and to know. Um, I always end the podcast with one question, and that is, what is bringing you joy currently?
Oh, I mean, for me currently, learning new things. So I got into, I changed my career last year. So for me, it's like learning all the fun things and being able to explore a different part of life that I didn't think I would ever be interested in exploring.
Amazing. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Learning has that ability, actually. It's quite fascinating what it can do to us. Well, on that note,
Yeah.
cheers to you and being 4 weeks
Cheers.
postpartum and doing all the things.
Cheers.
Thank you for sharing your story, for taking us on this journey, learning more about what this looks like and how people can be a part of it, and just not being afraid to ask the questions, whether you're intrigued to be one or to have one or whatever the situation is. I feel like this is
Yeah,
a wonderful conversation. So thank you so much. I'm really, really glad you were here today.
you bet.
All right.
Well, thank you.
Oh,
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
thank you. Well, have an amazing rest of your day. Get some rest.
You too.
Okay. Take care.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you. Bye,
Bye.
guys.
I want to thank you so much for being here, for taking the time to listen to the Naked podcast. It honestly means so much. If there's something in the episode that has moved you, share it with someone who might need to hear it too. And if you haven't already, give us a follow and leave a review. It helps so much to keep the momentum and keep the show growing. For more conversations, reflections, and ways to stay connected, check out the link in the show notes. Until next time. If you would like to connect with us or possibly share your story, please contact us at nakedwithjanelle@gmail.com. That's nakedwithjanelle@gmail.com. Thanks so much.